Spoiler warnings. It's now time for Horror on the Small Screen. This is where we do a TV show that is horror based or a regular TV show that has a spooky episode. And today, Dwayne, I know you're excited. We're jumping back to Goosebumps. Oh boy, your favorite show. We're back into it. This time we're doing Goosebumps Go Eat Worms. Dwayne, what do you think about being back in your favorite show, Goosebumps?
Yeah, I'm just so thrilled.
Well, anyway, so this episode, again, so here's how we picked it. I was on the list of Goosebumps episode. I told Taze to close her eyes, and then I was going through them. I told her to tell me when to stop. She said stop. We landed here and Go Eat Worms, and boy howdy, here we are. So this episode is about a boy named Todd who is obsessed with worms, and he likes to use these worms to torture his sister. Like she had a science fair project. He filled her science fair project full of worms, and like he was putting worms everywhere for like her hand to be where he figured her hand would go, and there's worms on there. It freaked her out. It's kind of an asshole. It's like I don't care what happens to this kid. He's a prick. Yeah, she swears she's gonna get back at him, and he's like, you know, fuck you. Whatever. He didn't say fuck you. It's Goosebumps, but he goes, yeah, whatever. And then he was telling his buddy that like worms have no feelings and shit like that, which is kind of like, I guess the plot thread of the thing is saying, hey, who cares what we do with these worms? They don't have any feelings, and they're wanting to like do science fair project where basically torturing the worms, putting some in cold conditions, some in hot conditions, cutting one in half, and so this pisses the worms off, Dwayne, and the worms come up and they're listening, and that night. So that night, the worms sneak into his lunch, which just so happens to be spaghetti, and he trades it with his buddy for lunch, and his buddy eats him a big old bowl of like worm spaghetti. Dwayne, to me, this was probably the only scene in the whole episode I thought was, I don't know, unsettling. Him eating the worms.
It was kind of suspenseful because he starts like he's going to eat, and then they say something, he stops, he's like, well, maybe he's not going to eat the worms.
Yeah.
Then he goes and just eats a whole big old helping of them.
Yeah. And really, that's the only scene I thought was a little, I guess, like, unsettling. The rest of it was not spooky. In fact, this episode wasn't funny or scary, so I was like, why make it, I'm just going to go ahead and cut the chase. This episode sucked ass. So his buddy gets pissed at him, and that night he goes to bed, and then he wakes up with a face full of worms, and there's worms all up in his bed, and he thinks his sister did it, but she's at a sleepover. So he goes, whoa, what could be happening? And then you can actually see the worms kind of go through the vents to travel through the house. Anyway, so he swears his sister was the one behind it, and then so later the next night he goes out to dig up some worms because he wants to get extra gooey ones I guess, for fresher worms. And when he goes out to go digging, he falls in a hole. And instead of trying to climb out, he decides to go through this tunnelway he finds, where he sees worms writing a fucking threatening message to him. And you can see him finishing up the writing it. It said, "We will make you squirm." Okay. And I was like, okay, that's kind of dumb. And then he gets attacked by a giant worm, which almost kills him. And he manages to kind of get out, but the worm comes up after him and gets scared away by his sister's science project, which is just like a bird pinata. I don't know what the fuck kind of science thing she's working on there. It's just a bird pinata that scares the giant worm away. And after that, he swears off the worms. He puts them in the jar. The next day, him and his buddy go fishing. They dump the worms in the water, and they use minnows. And then he's like, his buddy's like, "Well, now we have no worms. What's going to be their science fair project?" And he's talking about doing the same thing to the fish, the minnows, that or I guess regular fish they catch, that they were going to do to the worms. And you're like, oh, he didn't learn his lesson. And then he goes to eat his fucking sandwich that he brought for lunch. And as he goes to bite it, there's like a fishing hook in it, and the fish him in. And that's how it ends. When it ended, I was like, wait, what? No, what happens? I don't know. Holy shit. And that's the episode of Go Eat Worms. Dwayne, what are your thoughts on all this?
Yeah.
I didn't hype it up too well. He goes, I was like, oh, don't worry, this episode of Goosebumps is a good one.
Yeah. So once again, I've never seen any Goosebumps until we started doing this show. And this is the third one we've watched, and this is the third one that's not scary. I thought Goosebumps was supposed to be scary for kids.
The first one
I don't see how kids would be scared from this, but they just, it's just the kid loved worms, and he was dissecting them and for his science project, and the worms get mad and go after him and get him in trouble with his mom and his best friend and his sister, and so, like you said, he swears off worms after some giant worms start chasing him around, and then he starts doing the same thing to the minnows. Talking about cutting open fish, dissecting them, putting saltwater fish and freshwater fish and saltwater, and document the experiments. And they're like you said, he's not learning his lesson at all. Then there's some oversized hook in his sandwich he couldn't see.
Yeah, when you watch it, it's like, what the fuck is in his sandwich? Like, you know there's something wrong with it. And I guess he missed it. I just, could you imagine a fish jumping onto the thing, flopping to his bag, putting the hook in? I don't know, it just is goofy and stupid.
Oh, it was horrible.
It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't scary or funny. It was like, what is this for? Who's this for? And I didn't think, I was like, unless you're scared of worms, what does this accomplish? Like, if you're scared of worms, maybe this is a spooky episode, but if you're not, I don't know. Yeah. I watched it and I was like, this is horrible. I was like, I'm going to lie to Dwayne so he doesn't, fuck. Yeah. Also, there's a scene where he keeps bumping into his sister into the fucking spooky woods. I'm like, why are these children out here in the woods like this? I don't know. Holy shit. Alright, Dwayne, let's rank the Goosebumps episodes. So we had the first one, The Ghost Next Door, which I thought was a good episode. I gave that one like a 6 or something. I thought it was a good episode. We had Goosebumps, The Phantom of the Auditorium. That one was trash. And we have Go Eat Worms, which I also thought was trash. Dwayne, how would you rank them so far?
So at least the first one had a ghost in it.
Yeah, two ghosts.
Well,
one might have been a
phantom
demon
or something.
Yeah, one might have been a demon.
Some evil spirit. So at least it had ghosts and evil spirits in it. So that's probably the best one so far.
That one's my favorite so far.
I like the Worms one better than I like the Phantom of the Auditorium, because the Phantom Auditorium one was just like somebody remembered something.
That one had a ghost in it too, technically.
it's just remembering something that happened that her grandma did or something like that. Whoever it wasn't that good. But I like the worms one a little bit better.
Okay, I disagree with that. I think Fema Auditorium was trash. I think Go Eat Worms was trashier. I thought it was shit. I really did. Dwayne, final thoughts and grade? Huh?
4.
4?
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all.
Alright, well here is my... You feel like you just threw a low number out to it. Alright, now again, this doesn't have any effect on China's overall score. These are just for fun. Okay, I'm giving Goosebumps Go Eat Worms 2 bowls of worm spaghetti out of 10.